New technologies create new opportunities for new businesses to create new business spaces based on the new technologies. And it's great to have represented Matt Erskine today from Economic Development. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good morning. Glenn, thank you so much for the kind introduction, and a special thanks as well to Bill Wallace for the invitation to join you this morning. It's great to be working with you again, and I want to thank both Bill and Glenn for their leadership of US Ignite, and also a thank you to Mark and Jeannie for your critical work and for the chance to be here this morning. It's nice to be back. I had the pleasure of speaking at the 2013 US Ignite Summit in Chicago, and certainly one of the highlights of that day was getting to introduce the advanced manufacturing showcase demos, and I have to say I came away extremely impressed with the innovation and the entrepreneurs that I had the chance to meet. Let me begin this morning by saying that it's my pleasure to join you again to celebrate some of the incredible innovation that is taking place in our nation. Innovation that is driving the next generation of business, innovation that is driving economic growth and economic development and creating jobs, and innovation that is keeping us competitive on the global stage. And it truly is a pleasure to join you in highlighting US Ignite, an organization that brings together nonprofits, the federal government, local organizations, higher education, and businesses to address the really challenging business and regional economic development problems and issues that we face today. And I thank US Ignite for the work that you are doing, and I thank all of the entrepreneurs that are here today for your vision and for your work. This morning, I would like to talk with you about the importance of effective collaboration in delivering the innovation economy, effective collaboration particularly at the regional level. And I'd like to share with you what we at the U.S. Department of Commerce and the U.S. Economic Development Administration, U.S. EDA, are working on to advance that regional collaboration. In many ways, I know that I'll be preaching to the choir. But we at EDA believe that we should take every opportunity to bring attention and really highlight effective regional collaboration for better outcomes for our communities and for our country. And as someone who comes from the private sector, but also has served at the federal, state, and local level as a regional economic development professional, I know that the work that all of you are doing to create the next generation technologies is absolutely critical, not only to our nation's economic competitiveness, but to our prosperity and quality of life. Innovation in ultra-fast networks, big data, local cloud computing, and programmable networks translates to high-skill, high-wage jobs and that competitive advantage. To achieve that successful innovation, the need for effective, sustained partnerships between government, industry, community leadership, and higher education is more important than ever before. And it's more important than ever before because recent research has revealed significant challenges to American innovation, including a slowing startup culture, aging firms, and lack of capacity in our communities. A study released last year by the Economic Studies Group at the Brookings Institution entitled Declining Business Dynamism in the United States finds that the rate of formation of new firms has declined in every state during the past 3 decades. And in a recent issue of Foreign Affairs, Robert Litton points out that in addition to the markedly slowing rate of startup formation in the U.S. over the past 30 years, U.S. companies are getting older, measured as a proportion of those at least 16 years old. And older firms tend to be more risk-averse, rigid, and incrementally innovative. It also continues to be a reality that many communities are not fully prepared to take advantage of the new, exciting innovation opportunities. Too many communities are struggling to develop the innovation capacity necessary. So while states and communities may be in a better fiscal position than they were just 4 or 5 years ago, states and localities still face tremendous budget limitations. And certainly we know that our institutions of higher education also face tremendous budget limitations. And this means that the state and local governments, the regional partnerships, which are at the forefront of developing these regional economic strategies, often do not have the resources to make the critical investments in innovation capacity at a time when the need is more urgent than ever. And as Michael Porter and Jan Rivkin of the Harvard Business School point out in their September 2014 report entitled "An Economy Doing Half Its Job," quote, "businesses cannot succeed for long while their communities languish." So the question is, what can communities and regions do to ensure success? Well, at the local level, we need to ensure that our states, our regions, and our communities are positioned to most effectively support the business ecosystems and the conditions for business growth. Because the American economy we always talk about is, in fact, a collection of regional and local economies. And to succeed, communities and regions need to do the following. Number one, they need support for regionally developed transformative economic development initiatives and projects. Number two, technical and financial assistance with improved infrastructure, both hard infrastructure and soft infrastructure, that is linked directly to jobs and increased private sector activity and investment. Number three, assistance in addressing the expertise and resource gaps. And number four, improved policy at all levels of government. And just as capital is the lifeblood to new ventures, startup companies, enterprising researchers, and entrepreneurs like many here today, communities, regions, and those regional partnerships need capital too. Because community and regional leaders need capital to build the capacity and strengthen their innovation ecosystems. They need the capital, technical assistance, and other resources that can help them create the environment and the conditions for entrepreneurial and business growth. And another way to think about this particular kind of capital is investment in public goods. And a number of thoughtful experts, including McKinsey, Harvard Business School, MIT, and BCG, just to name a few, have pointed to the importance of investing in public goods to boost the vibrancy of regional economic ecosystems. And the federal government can play a key role here in partnership with you to help fill the holes in the ecosystem through the investment of patient capital in a strategic way, all the while more effectively leveraging the state and the local economic development funds, university assets, and private capital, and facilitating the reorientation of local economies toward truly productive investments in the ecosystem. For 50 years, EDA has invested to help communities do just that, and I'm pleased to say that we at Commerce and EDA are committed to doing even more to advance business ecosystems. Through the Commerce Department's Open for Business agenda, EDA continues to work with communities across the country to support their efforts to build a more innovation-driven and entrepreneurial society. And we're doing this by focusing federal economic development resources to create the high-growth, globally competitive regions of innovation and prosperity. And this vision is designed to improve the conditions for economic growth and improved quality of life by, one, expanding the capacity of individuals, firms, and communities to maximize the use of their talents and skills to support innovation, lower transaction costs, and responsibly produce and trade valuable goods and services. Number two, make communities more attractive to business and job growth by helping to reduce private investment risk and improve the business environment. Number three, transforming regional economies through the most productive use of local resources. And number four, as I said before, helping to improve policy at all levels of government. We at EDA approach our federal economic development role and investment in a place-based, bottom-up way, investing in local people and the local organizations who know their communities the best. And we do this through our broad and flexible portfolio that addresses basic infrastructure, technology infrastructure, planning, partnership building, economic adjustment, and other technical assistance. And just as we ask our local and regional partners to break down silos, collaborate more effectively, and do more with less, it is only right and certainly makes sense for the federal government to do the same. Therefore, Commerce and EDA we've been leading the charge in breaking down Washington silos to achieve efficiencies and provide more impactful assistance. In fact, since fiscal year 2010, EDA has led interagency, multi-agency efforts which have invested in more than 100 collaborative regional innovation initiatives throughout the country. And some great examples of impactful EDA examples targeted at regional innovation capacity can be found in Cleveland, Ohio, and Kansas City, Missouri. In Cleveland, an EDA investment is helping to establish the nation's first commercially available metropolitan 100 gigabit fiber optic network. And to make this project a reality, EDA's investment was coupled with co-investments from the city and from one community, the nonprofit focused on expanding the high-speed broadband access. This fiber optic project will have a wide footprint by connecting the Idea Center in downtown Cleveland through the Health Tech Corridor to Case Western Reserve University. Through this project, the city once again has set its sights to the future by establishing the framework to attract companies and entrepreneurs focused on research and development, specifically those in health technology. And quite simply, 100 gigabits means more jobs because it will attract more businesses and support more entrepreneurs. It means more big data companies will relocate and remain there, and it gives companies the capacity they need to move information faster. Another example, in Kansas City, Digital Sandbox KC was launched in 2013 with an EDA I-6 challenge grant. Digital Sandbox KC helps companies validate new concepts leading to new business starts and follow-on funding. And this highly successful proof of concept program has worked with more than 300 entrepreneurs and early-stage companies across the Kansas City metro area. The results so far are impressive. 42 proof of concept projects funded, 23 new Kansas City-based companies have been created, and 27 companies have secured $12 million in follow-on investment. Investments like these that catalyze innovation and economic activity are the types of projects that EDA is excited to invest in. Which brings me to our 2015 Regional Innovation Strategies Program competition, which will continue our emphasis on investments that catalyze innovation. And the new program comprises 3 components. First, the competition includes the 4th round of our I-6 challenge, which has been broadened to include scaling of existing centers or programs as well as funding for later stage commercialization centers. The second component is our Science and Research Parks Challenge, which provides funding for feasibility and planning for the construction of new or expanded science research parks or the renovation of existing facilities. And finally, there's the Cluster Grants for Seed Funds Challenge that provides funding for technical assistance to support the feasibility, planning, formation, or launch of cluster-based seed capital funds that are offered to innovation-based, growth-oriented startup companies. I can report to you that we received more than 240 applications for this challenge, which came from 44 states plus Puerto Rico, totaling more than $100 million. And importantly, more than $100 million in local match funding. The response is a clear indication that these sorts of funding opportunities are invaluable to communities and that the communities are willing to put some serious skin in the game. In just a few weeks, we're going to be announcing the winners from this first round, and later this spring, our plan is to announce a second Regional Innovation Strategies competition. Finally, let me say a few words about EDA's new tools to help communities advance regional innovation. We at EDA are committed to providing tools to practitioners and policymakers, entrepreneurs, and businesses so that they can make more informed economic development decisions. And one such tool that we are especially proud of is our new U.S. Cluster Mapping and Registry tool. This tool will strengthen U.S. competitiveness by advancing and making more accessible our understanding of the economic performance of clusters and regions across the United States. The U.S. Cluster Map is a result of our partnership with the Harvard Business School's Institute for Strategy and Competitiveness. Policymakers, economic development practitioners, higher education, businesses, and other stakeholders can use this powerful data tool to capitalize more effectively on their region's assets in order to drive the better regional economic outcomes. And critically important, the tool's extensive organization registry will help connect policymakers, practitioners, and businesses with other organizations that are promoting their clusters. This is a user-contributed repository of cluster initiatives, studies, reports, and this tool will allow users to share and discuss and network across best practices in economic development, policy, and innovation. So if you have not already, I encourage all of you to visit clustermapping.us for more information and, importantly, to register your organization and your initiatives into the registry. Let me conclude by saying thank you again for your work, your commitment, and your engagement. The work that US Ignite and Jeannie and all of you are doing is more important than ever before. And working together, we will build resilient regional economies that thrive in the changing global marketplace and ensure that America remains open for business for all of our businesses and entrepreneurs. And we at Commerce and EDA look forward to our continued partnership with you. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be with you. Thank you very much.